This is The Filter on iHeart Podcasts Canada.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hi.
So great. How are you?
I'm so great. It's so wonderful to see your beautiful face, and thanks for taking time today.
Oh my gosh, it's absolutely our pleasure. We've been really enjoying your song story. Tell myself I'll move. I like bop every time it's on. It's so good.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Gar-
How are you finding 2025 so far?
Honestly, I cannot believe it's already mid-February. I'm just like, this
I
year
know.
is flying by, and I know that's what everybody always says, but from the top of the year, I was in LA writing, and then I was home for a couple days, and then I've just come back from Vegas a couple days ago. I was there playing with Shania, and so
Yeah.
it's just been so busy that I'm like, how's it already middle of February?
It's insane. Yeah. It's like, how does that happen when January was like 1,000 days long? It's what it is.
Completely, so
Yeah.
true. And now it's just like flowing right through it.
It really is. I'm curious. So, like your song, "The Story I Tell Myself," I mean, that song and pretty much the whole EP, "Love Myself," it has really big themes of like, you know, negative self-talk, overcoming body image issues, loving yourself, through that. Like, can you speak on your personal experience with that and like what inspired those songs specifically?
Absolutely. I mean, the past few years of my life have been truly a 180 with how I look at myself, how I look at my life, how I even look at my career. I really, sort of took the past couple of years to like listen to myself for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
And I got diagnosed with an eating disorder a couple years ago. And I think that was the, you know, turning point of a lot of things, and being in therapy, of like specific therapy of, okay, why did I end up here, and why have I numbed myself for so long, like I think every human knows how to do that, to dissociate, to just feel safe when there's so many things in the world that make us feel not safe. And feeling feelings is hard. I mean, it's a very hard thing for anybody to do, and so I get it. I did it for 20 years, and then coming out of that, I was like, oh my goodness, everything feels so intense, like the
Yeah.
joy and the highs feel very wonderful, and the lows and the sadness and the guilt and the shame feel very intense as well. And um so I just wanted to write about it. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to use my platform to just really share the process of what I was going through. And it's so insane. Anytime, I mean, I wrote a song a few years back on my last record about being a survivor, and that was
Mhm.
such a moment for me as an artist, because I just got to see that when you write something that vulnerable, it connects with people in ways that you can't even predict. And I have strangers who live across the world reaching out, being like, thank you for writing this song.
Yeah.
It's really inspired me to talk to a friend or go get help, or whatever the reason may be. So the whole project, Love Myself, and specifically the song Story I Tell Myself, I mean, Story, as we refer to it, Story, was the first song
Yeah.
I wrote for this entire project. I remember walking out of the writing room that day being like, okay, now we can begin. And I know this
Yeah.
song is special because I just feel that we all know what that feels like, of all of
Oof.
the debilitating false beliefs that go on in our brains. I mean, I'm kind of a health nut, and so I read about all this stuff all the time, but not to like get super nerdy, but 95%
That's
of our
me too.
brain 95% of our brain
Mm.
activity is subconscious. And so
Yeah.
that tells you that like 5% of everything that we're thinking consciously is only 5%. Like there's a lot going on there in our brains that we don't even know, or we're not even
Yeah.
conscious of. And so it just goes to show you that there's a lot of things that if we don't make like intentional effort to like bring
Yeah.
some of that forward, that all of that unconscious stuff can start ruling your life, or it has been ruling your life. But until you like start becoming aware of it, you
that. Yeah.
realize the things that, I mean, for me, everything, all of my stories would stem down to the one story of I'm not enough. I'm not pretty enough. I can't sing good enough. I can't play guitar good enough. I'm not here enough. I'm not on tour enough. I'm not whatever. And it just like would go on forever. And it is
Yeah.
so wild when you really start to listen to some of those stories and be like, wait a minute, that is being very mean to myself. Like if my friend said that to herself, I would be like, whoa, 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 whoa. You don't say that to my friend. But when
Totally,
it's
yeah.
me, like it's so easy to punch yourself like a punching bag. And so it's been a very wild past couple of years, and I have all of this thanks to the song "Story I Tell Myself."
It's a super powerful song, like, it's a bop, but it also, like, really is so raw and so true, and, like, it's crazy how universal that feeling is to have that adversary constantly there telling you that
Yeah,
you're not good enough, so, I mean, it's an incredible way to unite people, I think, to help inspire folks to kind of just, like, face that and, like, become more intentional of, like, how you're feeling, what you're thinking, and, like, really kind of almost changing that so, like, that language becomes different, that
totally.
intention, sets the tone for how you live your life in general, and that's I mean, obviously that theme runs throughout that whole EP. What is your favorite song on that? What is your favorite song on Love Myself and why?
I mean, it's so hard to choose a favorite. It's like trying to choose your I don't have any children, but I imagine when people ask
Yeah,
parents to choose their favorite child, it's like they're all so special. And as a songwriter, just songs are also special in their own little ways. And so,
for sure.
um, honestly, probably Story I Tell Myself is my favorite on
Yeah,
the EP because it was just a starting moment. And I remember from that day that that song was created, I was like, okay, now
yeah,
it begins. Now everything starts. I
yeah.
finally have like a step forward.
I love that, and funny enough that being the starting point, I mean, that's a whole new genre that you're exploring too. Tell me about that process because you pulled a little Taylor Swift, like, crossover from country into pop now, and obviously, like, was that an organic choice as far as genre goes, or was it, like, just kinda where the writing took you?
Girl, I mean, I first off, I look up to my favorite artists for being so multifaceted. Like when I look at
Yeah,
Sheryl Crow and John Mayer, like they are not defined by one genre. You can't define them by one genre. They may have a project that leans a certain way, but
yeah,
they are them because they lean into their artistry, which is so multifaceted and influenced by so many different things. And I've always been influenced by so many different things. I mean, yes, I was influenced by Shania as a songwriter and a lot of the women in country music when I was a little girl. And that helped me like starting to write songs. But then in my teens, I was so inspired by Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Eric Clapton, all this rock music and all this pop music. And so when I moved to Nashville just after I turned 20, I wanted to make a pop record. I wanted to
yeah,
be a female John Mayer. And then I got offered a country record deal and was like, Okay, I mean, this is close enough. I mean, music is music and
yeah,
it'll
yeah.
all be the same." And it just has taken me a decade to sort of really distill down to what feels true right now. And I don't necessarily see it as moving away from country music. A part of that will always be a part of me and
Of
that will
course,
always be
yeah,
in my songwriting. But when I look at artists like Casey Musgraves or Taylor is a great example. It's just evolution of the music and evolution of who I am as an artist and where I want my music to go. And hopefully, I believe that fans do not care what genre you are in. They just
absolutely.
want real music that makes them feel something and makes them connect to memories and stories of their past. And so I just really hope that I can continue to make music that connects with people and inspires them in different ways. And I'm just not going to worry about anything else.
I love that so much. That's so well said. Because yeah, like, the music will take you wherever it is, wherever it wants to go, and you just have to follow your heart with it, and I love that you're doing
Totally.
just that. It's so great. Can you tell me just, like, a little bit about your writing process and, like, how do you start a song? Like, with, for instance, "Story I Tell Myself," was it, like, a little, I guess, that an inspired, like, lyric, or was it a guitar lick, or what kind of, like, sparked that particular song for you?
Well, I remember having the title being like, I wanna write a song about all of
Mm,
the stories that we tell ourselves. I wanna write a song about all of these, like, false beliefs that go on in our mind that, like, control our lives, but we, like, don't realize they really do.
yeah.
And so I came into the writing room with an idea, and I was so inspired. I mean, I still am always inspired by the 1975, but that was, like, a really hardcore time of my life where it was pretty much all I was listening to, and so I knew I wanted something that had like those drums and those like bass movements and even chord changes and those like counter rhythms on a guitar. I knew I wanted something that sort of lived in that space. And so having those two tidbits being like, okay, I want to write a song about this
Yeah.
and I want it to feel like this. And then me and Eric Serna and Becca Kruger just jumped in. And it is like writing a song, the process of writing a song is still so wild, and I do it all the time. But the fact that you go into a room with nothing and then you come
Yeah.
out 3, 4 hours later and this like piece of art is so beautifully molded is so wild. But Story was definitely one of those moments. It was just sort of a song that like came into our laps and was like,
Yeah.
this is what we're doing today.
It's the coolest thing when that happens, like, just yeah, just pulling from the ether and, like, manifesting something that, is, like, gonna I think transcend, you know, any kind of moment. Like, I think
Truly.
yeah, it's really beautiful. Nice work. And you've mentioned Shania a couple times, so I don't know if folks may know, may not know that you play for Shania. You play guitar. You were in her Vegas residency and on a recent tour. What is it like working with her? Like, how does she inspire you as an artist?
It's been so wild. Honestly, I mean, we toured with Shania back in 2023, and then at the beginning of last year, she called and asked if I would play in her band, and I never saw being a guitar player in someone's band on my docket list. I just have
Yeah.
always been my own front man in my band, but I'm like, when Shania calls you, you can't say no. And
No.
she was one of my childhood heroes. She was the reason why I started singing. I would sing her songs in the mirror with like a plastic microphone when I was a little girl. So
Oh, yeah.
this whole experience has been so wild, full circle. Like those songs that I taught myself how to sing on, now I play with her like 3 feet away from her on stage, and I'm just like, life is so great, like truly so crazy.
Yeah.
When you really like focus on the things that you love and sit down about manifesting your dreams, like it is very wild how some of these things can intersect. And so I've just been sitting in a lot of gratitude, and there's been so many moments working with her where I'm like, that is why she's an icon. So it's
Mm.
been awesome to just be a sponge around her. She's so brilliant, she's so sweet, she's so nice. Like everything they say about not wanting to meet your heroes, I mean, she is the exact opposite of that because she's
Oh,
just so cool.
that makes me so happy to hear, and, like, yeah, there's something about being a sponge around like that, it just, like, elevates everything, hey? It's
Truly,
amazing.
truly.
That's so cool. So you were just in Vegas then, were you playing with her down there? Like, is the residency still on? What's shaking with that?
Yeah, we just wrapped up the residency. It's been a wild year. I mean, we were in Europe for a month last summer and we've had a bunch
Nice.
of festivals. And then I was navigating that through playing my own shows and recording my record. And so I've just been sort
Yeah.
of like juggling a few things. My poor dog is like, "Who are you? Welcome home." That's not true. I've been able to take her to Vegas a couple of times, which has been so nice. But
Oh,
um,
that's
but yeah,
amazing.
we officially wrapped up the residency, which was so bittersweet, but really magical to be able to celebrate that whole journey with her. And now I'm headed to LA next week to finish writing the rest of the record and going into the
Yeah.
studio in March. And so we're right back in it.
Amazing. Do you mind if can we speak on your new single that just came out?
Of
It's
course.
so good.
Thank you. It's so fun to be able to just make music that I love and that I'm inspired by and to create with my friends. And so obviously Story I Tell Myself was the beginning of this whole journey. And Nightly is this band who are so talented. They live in Nashville and we've become friends over the past year and writing buddies. And we wrote this song and we were just like, this song is so cool and so fun. We need to release this out into the world. And it's just been amazing to watch it grow.
Amazing. Well, we can't wait to bop to it on the radio. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for taking the
Yeah.
time. You're awesome.
Girl, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I hope to see you in person, Sammy.
We hope so too. Let us know when you're playing Vancouver. I'd love to come out.
I would love that.
All right, have a good one.
Thanks,
Thanks
Sammy. Take
again.
care.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Filter, an iHeart Podcasts Canada production. Subscribe to The Filter wherever you get your podcasts.